Most people ruin their lives by caring too much. Caring too much about opinions, about rejection, about being accepted, about proving themselves to people who were never worth the effort in the first place. And the terrifying part is, they don't even realize it's happening. They wake up anxious, scroll endlessly, compare constantly, overthink every message, every mistake, every glance from another person. They become emotional prisoners in a world that rewards emotional control. But the moment you stop caring about things that don't deserve your energy, something strange happens. Your mind becomes clear, your confidence becomes natural, your presence becomes powerful, and suddenly, everything starts working. Because the truth is, the people who seem the strongest in this world are not the people who control everything. They are the people who are no longer controlled by everything. Before we go deeper, subscribe if you want more videos that sharpen your mindset, strengthen your discipline, and help you become mentally untouchable. There's a hidden reason why your life feels heavy right now. It's not because you're weak. It's because you're emotionally overloaded. Modern life trains you to care about everything. Notifications, validation, trends, opinions, drama, attention. Society constantly whispers the same message into your mind. Be liked. Be approved. Don't disappoint people. Don't be misunderstood. So you spend your entire life performing. You pretend to be okay when you're exhausted. You smile when you're hurting. You explain yourself to people who already judged you. You chase validation from people who don't even value themselves. And slowly, you lose yourself. This is why so many people feel empty even when they're doing everything right. Because they built their identity around other people's reactions. But Stoicism teaches something radically different. The Stoics believed peace begins the moment you separate what you can control from what you cannot. You cannot control opinions. You cannot control outcomes. You cannot control whether people stay or leave. But you can control your response. And that changes everything. There's a moment in every person's life where they become exhausted from trying so hard. Trying to impress. Trying to fix everyone. Trying to force outcomes. Trying to be enough for people who constantly move the goalpost. Maybe you've felt that exhaustion. Maybe you've stared at the ceiling late at night wondering why life feels so mentally draining. And maybe, deep down, you already know the answer. You care too much about things destroying your peace. That's why detachment feels so powerful. Not because you stop loving. Not because you become cold, but because you stop surrendering your emotional stability to external things. A Stoic understands this. Attachment creates suffering when your happiness depends on things outside your control. And most people are addicted to attachment. Attachment to praise. Attachment to attention. Attachment to success. Attachment to being understood. But life becomes lighter when you stop gripping everything so tightly. Because what is meant for you does not require desperation. Think about the moments you performed best in life. Ironically, they were probably the moments you stopped obsessing. The interview you entered with calm confidence. The conversation where you stopped trying to impress. The opportunity you received after giving up the chase. Why? Because desperation repels. Calm attracts. People can feel energy. And nothing is more magnetic than someone who is emotionally free. When you stop begging for validation. People notice your confidence. When you stop chasing approval, people respect your presence. When you stop fearing loss, you stop living in fear altogether. That is power, not loud power, not ego-driven power, quiet power, the kind that makes people wonder why nothing seems to shake you anymore. If this mindset already resonates with you, subscribe and join a community focused on mental strength, self-mastery, and Stoic wisdom for modern life. Here's where most people misunderstand detachment. They think, not caring, means becoming lazy or emotionless. But that's not Stoicism. Stoicism does not teach apathy toward life. It teaches apathy toward what steals your peace unnecessarily. You still work hard. You still love deeply. You still pursue greatness. But you stop emotionally collapsing every time life refuses to go exactly your way. That shift alone can transform your entire existence. Imagine waking up without needing everyone to approve of you. Imagine speaking without fearing judgment. Imagine walking away from disrespect without needing revenge. Imagine losing something, and still remaining calm. That is freedom. Most people spend their entire lives trying to control the outside world. Stoics focus on mastering the inside world instead. And the inside world determines everything. Your emotions shape your decisions. Your decisions shape your habits. Your habits shape your destiny. So if you cannot control your emotions, eventually your emotions will control your life. Marcus Aurelius understood this deeply. Marcus Aurelius, even as Emperor of Rome, surrounded by chaos, betrayal, pressure, and war, he constantly reminded himself not to be disturbed by things beyond his control. That's why Stoicism remains powerful thousands of years later. Because human nature has not changed. People still seek validation. People still fear rejection. People still overreact emotionally. People still allow temporary problems to destroy their inner peace. But the Stoic path offers another way. A calmer way. A stronger way. There's a dangerous trap that modern society rarely talks about. The trap of emotional dependency. This happens when your mood depends entirely on external events. Someone compliments you, you feel valuable. Someone ignores you, you feel worthless. You succeed, you feel confident. You fail, you hate yourself. Your identity becomes unstable because it depends on conditions constantly changing. And that creates anxiety. Real confidence is different. Real confidence comes from emotional independence. It comes from knowing, I will be okay no matter what happens. That mindset changes the way you move through life. You stop forcing connections. You stop begging for attention. You stop arguing with people committed to misunderstanding you. You stop explaining your worth. Because deeply secure people do not need constant validation. And the moment you stop needing validation, you become dangerous in the best possible way. You become calm under pressure, focused under stress, unshaken by opinions. That's when everything starts working. Not because life suddenly becomes perfect, but because your mind stops sabotaging you. Most suffering is not created by reality itself. It's created by resistance to reality. People suffer because they want control over uncontrollable things. They want certainty in an uncertain world. They want permanent comfort in a temporary life. They want everyone to understand them. They want life to always feel fair. But reality doesn't operate that way. The Stoics accepted this truth early. And acceptance creates peace. When you stop arguing with reality, you stop suffering unnecessarily. A breakup hurts less when you stop trying to force someone to stay. Failure hurts less when you stop attaching your identity to outcomes. Criticism hurts less when you stop needing universal approval. This is why detachment feels like freedom. Because you stop fighting battles that only exist inside your own mind. And suddenly, your energy returns. You think clearly again. You sleep better. You stop obsessing over things that once consumed you. You realize how much of your suffering came from your attachment, not the event itself. That realization can change a person forever. Let me tell you something difficult but necessary. Some people will never appreciate you. No matter how loyal you are. No matter how kind you are. No matter how much you sacrifice. Some people only see your value after they lose access to you. And chasing their approval will destroy your self-respect. This is why learning to walk away is essential. Not every battle deserves your energy. Not every argument deserves your response. Not every opinion deserves your attention. The strongest people are not those who react to everything. The strongest people choose carefully what deserves a reaction at all, and once you understand this, your life becomes quieter. Not lonely, not empty, peaceful. You stop carrying emotional weight that was never yours to hold. You stop trying to save people committed to self-destruction. You stop trying to convince people determined to misunderstand you. You stop trying to force outcomes life clearly rejected. And in that silence, you rediscover yourself. Subscribe if you're ready to stop overthinking, stop seeking approval, and start building a stronger mind through Stoic wisdom. There's another reason detachment changes everything. It removes fear. Fear exists where attachment exists. You fear losing what you desperately cling to, but once you understand that nothing in life is fully permanent, fear begins losing power over you. Stoics reflected constantly on impermanence. Not to become depressed, but to become present. Because when you accept that everything changes, you stop taking life for granted. You appreciate moments more deeply. You love people more honestly. You stop postponing your happiness. And strangely, this acceptance makes you stronger emotionally. A person terrified of loss becomes anxious. A person who accepts loss becomes resilient. That's why emotionally detached people often appear calm during chaos. They already made peace with uncertainty. And uncertainty no longer controls them. Modern culture tells you to chase more constantly. More attention. More status. More approval. More distraction. But Stoicism asks a different question. What if peace comes from needing less? That question changes everything. Because many people are not exhausted from doing too little. They're exhausted from craving too much. Too much validation. Too much control. Too much reassurance. Their mind never rests because desire never rests. But when you simplify your emotional needs, life becomes lighter. You no longer need every conversation to go perfectly. You no longer need everyone to like you. You no longer need constant proof that you matter. You simply exist with quiet confidence. And ironically, That's when people begin respecting you most. Because emotional self-control is rare. Anyone can react emotionally. Anyone can lose control. Anyone can panic. But remaining calm in a chaotic world, that's strength. Real strength. The next time life frustrates you, pause for a moment. Ask yourself, will this matter in 5 years? Is this worth destroying my peace over? Am I suffering from reality, or from my attachment to a different outcome? Those questions can save you from emotional exhaustion, because many problems become smaller the moment you stop feeding them emotional energy. Not every situation deserves your mental attention. And once you realize that, your focus sharpens. You stop wasting years worrying about opinions from people who barely understand themselves. You stop shrinking yourself for acceptance. You stop apologizing for existing. You stop abandoning your peace to fit into places that never valued you. And your entire energy changes. People can sense when someone no longer seeks approval. There's a quiet confidence in them, a calmness, a grounded presence. That energy cannot be faked. It comes only through inner work, through pain, through reflection, through learning what truly matters. And often, it comes after life breaks you enough times to realize external validation will never save you. At some point, every strong person reaches a turning point. A moment where they become tired of emotional chaos, tired of overthinking, tired of chasing, tired of explaining, tired of carrying everyone else's expectations. And in that moment, they choose peace. Not because peace is easy, but because chaos became unbearable. That choice changes their life forever. Because once you taste emotional freedom, you never want to return to emotional dependency again. You begin protecting your energy differently. You become more selective with people, more intentional with your attention, more disciplined with your emotions. You stop reacting instantly. You stop needing closure from everyone. You stop allowing temporary emotions to control permanent decisions. And slowly, your life transforms. Not overnight, but steadily, because inner peace compounds just like chaos does. Every calm response strengthens your discipline. Every moment of restraint strengthens your mind. Every act of detachment strengthens your freedom. Until one day, you become unrecognizable to the person you used to be. Calmer, stronger, more focused, more at peace. That is the hidden reward of Stoicism. Not perfection, peace. And in a world addicted to emotional chaos, peace becomes power. So stop chasing every opinion. Stop explaining yourself endlessly. Stop attaching your worth to temporary things. You do not need everyone to understand you. You do not need constant validation. You do not need to control every outcome. You only need control over yourself. Because once you stop caring about what drains your soul, everything starts working. Your mind works better. Your confidence works better. Your relationships work better. Your decisions work better. Not because the world changed, but because you changed. And sometimes, that changes everything.